Hi YouTube, this is Crystal with Digital Diva Design, your personal branding channel. This video is the first in my Design It Like series, where I teach you how to recreate the web pages of some of today's most popular influencers. Today I'm going to show you how to design a cosmetic company homepage like Rihanna's Fenty Beauty using WordPress and Elementor Pro. This video will cover setting up your WordPress pages and using Elementor Pro to create each section of the homepage, including the header, footer, sliders, and product images. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and like and share this video. Don't forget to click the bell to receive notifications for my newest content. Okay, so now that we have completed the header for now, let's take a look at the footer. So I'm just looking at the front part of my website right now. I'm actually in Elementor, and you can see here, because there's no footer, it just stops at these last two products. So let's take a look at the Fenty Beauty website, and we can see here that this website has actually quite a large footer. In fact, the footer is practically the size of my screen. Just to get some reference here, and yeah, this is the site-wide footer, so it's pretty big. And you know, your footer doesn't have to be this big. This is packing a lot of information in it, which is why they've created one that is so I guess expansive. But we can kind of do the same thing. So let's just go back. In fact, these pages keep loading with all the products. Okay, here we go. So as you can see here, this is really just a plain black block here with an image in the background. And then we have some form fields on top with some text and some social media icons with some more text. And then it looks like we have a menu here at the bottom. So let's go about going ahead and creating this. So I want to create this graphic with the black background, and this text here on the bottom is very stylized. It looks like probably handwritten or hand-drawn. And we can create something similar. So I think I'm going to create this in InDesign, and what I'll do is I'll just create this image with the black background, and we'll find some really nice handwritten font to lay on top and give it that kind of very authentic, very raw feel that we have here on the Fenty Beauty website. Okay, so I have InDesign open here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new document, and I'm going to set the custom dimensions here. So I believe I had, let's just go 1600, and we're going to go by 960 in depth. And you can always change this if this ends up being too big or too small. And I'm going to go ahead and create. Okay, looks like everything's loaded up all right. So I'm going to go here to the rectangle tool and draw out a rectangle. Let me select black, and I'm going to draw this rectangle out all the way to the bleed, even though this is not a print document, so the bleed really isn't necessary, but I just have it on there because I think it was already in the settings. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as, we're just going to call it footer. Footer image. Okay, and the next thing to do is to, let's see, I'm going to take out the text tool and draw out some text here. And I'm just going to go by the little makeup name that I picked for this website, which is Skin by Crystal L. I know you can't see that right now, but I'm going to make that larger so you can see it. And let's go ahead and make that about 30. It could be even bigger than that, 72. Let's go maybe 150. Looks pretty okay. And we're going to make this white. So I'm going to go here to the text, click on paper. Let's fix that typo there. I think I do want this probably on the bottom. Let's see, I'm probably going to play around with this. Let me actually remove that. So I just cut that out. And I'm going to repaste it. Let me take out the hyphen. All right, so it won't hyphenate. All right, that looks pretty good. And now the fun part is finding some fonts to work with this graphic. Okay, so I settled on this font called Bitter Mind, and it's a font that's free for commercial use. So if you just type in Bitter Mind font in Google, you will find it. And yeah, I settled on these. And remember, like, this is going to be in the background, so they don't have to be like super prominent. It just needs to be something that will go in the background. So I'm going to select both of those. I'm going to just rotate them a little bit here. And that might end up being a little bit too big. So for these, let me see here. I think I'm going to move them up a little bit here. And I can probably move this back just slightly, because remember, you're going to have a form, you're going to have form fields going across the middle. So we don't want these to be too big. I think I'm going to shrink it down just a tad bit. Okay. And I think I'm also going to reselect these again, kind of ease up on the angle just a tad bit, so it's not quite so slanted. All right, it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna bump it up a little bit. So to give this text kind of the effect that you saw on the Fenty Beauty website, where, let me just go to that for a reference, we can see there's like some feathering and some fading, almost like a blurred motion. In a way, it almost looks like maybe like a spray paint, but I want to create something similar in effect, not exact, but something similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the FX panel, and I'm going to click here on Outer Glow. And it's already on preview, so you can see like there is a little bit of an effect already added. If I just click off preview, then you can see the difference. I'm going to increase the size of this, let's see, to 20 pixels. And let's increase the spread a little bit. I'm going to use this slider to see if that will kind of give a little more of an effect. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Let's add a little bit of noise. Let's do about 3% noise on that. Okay, that's not too bad. I think I might back off just a little bit on the spread. Maybe I'll go down to a 4. Let's see if that does anything. I think I need to go down in size just a tad bit. Okay, I think I'm pretty okay with that. So let's leave it like that. I'm going to click OK. And that's basically it for this portion. I'm going to go ahead and export this as a JPEG. So I'll go to File, Export, and it's already set there to JPEG. Let's hit Save. And this looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to leave the settings as is and export. Okay, now that that's been saved, let's go back to the actual demo website. And I'm going to go to the WordPress dashboard. Let me go to Media, Add New, because I want to add this new image I just created. And where is it? Right here, footer image. Go ahead and open. All right, great. That's been uploaded. So now I'm going to go to Elementor and let's go to templates and theme builder. Now we're going to add a new footer. So I'm going to click on the footer tab, add new footer. Let's just name this main footer and create template. I am not going to use any of the examples that they have here, so I'm just going to click out of the X and let's go here to the plus side. We're going to add a new section, one column. Let's add an intersection first. And then I'm going to go here to this main section. Actually, before I do that, let's click on that and let's make sure that this is full width. I'm going to click here again on edit section, go to style, and then background. We'll click on classic and choose image. So now I'm going to choose that image that I just uploaded and insert it. All right, so you can see here that this is not the full height of the image. So let's go back to, let's go to size, which is default, but let's choose cover instead. And then let's go back to layout, and for height we're going to set a minimum height of 960. All right, that's looking pretty good to me. All right, yeah, that looks pretty good. Now as you can see here, the text is actually quite large, and it's a little bit larger than I want, so I might have to go back and resize the text here so it doesn't take up so much space on the footer. Yeah, as you can see here, we just definitely don't want to go over a third, so let me go back and fix this up. Okay, so I re-uploaded this image and I made sure that the type is a little bit more on the left third of the screen and moved up close to the top of the section. So that part is pretty much done. And you can also just play around with this in Elementor as well. You can play with the position. So I have it on default, but you can try different positions to see what works best for your graphic that you might be uploading. So you can see this one's kind of like off the screen a little bit, so it's a little bit weird. It is several different things that you can kind of play around with. I'm going to keep it at the default, which I think is exactly where I want this to be, and go from there. So looking at the Fenty Beauty website, as you can see here, there's really a section of text and some form fields that run down the middle of the page. So we're going to do the same type of thing here. I have my section and my intersection there. I'm going to drag the heading widget into this intersection. And all this is going to be styled up in just a second, but I'm just going to get all the sections that I need kind of placed first and then go into styling it. Let's add the text editor on the bottom of that. Let's go back. Now we have two form fields. So we're going to need to add the form fields. So let's add that form field there. And I'm going to delete this field here. I'm going to delete this button, but let me see here. Oops. Okay, so you can see here that you're going to enter your information here where the placeholder text is, and then the button is actually off to the side. So we want to do the same type of thing. So basically on this website, they're giving you choices, whether you want to enter your email address or your phone, which I'm guessing would be a mobile phone so that you can receive text messages. So we'll try to replicate that same thing. I'm going to, let's see, delete the name here, and then we're just going to leave email and this button. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to set it so that both of them are at 50%. Or actually, let's do, maybe we'll do email at 75%. And then we'll do this button here at 25. So let me just go down, scroll down to the button, and we're going to pick 25. Okay, that looks pretty good. We can work with that. I might actually make it even smaller and do 20. And this email form, maybe let's make that 80. So I'll make that into 80%. Okay, that looks pretty good. And we're going to get rid of this label at the top. So we're just going to hit this button here, that slider that hides the label so that email is no longer shown. Let's go ahead and style this up first, and then we can hit duplicate and then change the values as needed. But before we do that, let's go back here. There's some more text. So I'm going to add another text box. Let me see. I'm trying to duplicate this one. There we go. And let's drag that underneath. See if it'll go right underneath this form. It doesn't seem to want to go. There we go. Right underneath the form field. And now we're going to get the social media icons. Just gotta find them. Sometimes it is hard to find stuff in Elementor, and they add so many elements that it gets a little bit difficult to find. So sometimes you can just go right here to this search box and then search for what you're looking for, and you'll find what you're looking for that way. So that works. And we'll just put some social media here. We can add a few more and change it later. Okay. So this is kind of like the skeleton what we're working with. It looks like we have just a little more text here. And then we have what looks like a menu. So let's go back. I'm going to add another section for text and slide that right underneath social media buttons. Okay, now we can get to styling this up and making it look halfway decent. So before I do that, I just want to move that out of the way so you can see. Let's see, before we do that, let's go ahead and edit this intersection, and I want to increase the margins on each side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to this column here where it says edit column, click on that, and then go to advanced, and now we can play with the margins. I'm going to click on the link to break the link, and then I'm going to add some values in on each side to bring that section in. And it looks like you're going to have to do a lot of it. So let's go 200, 200. That's getting there. Let's go maybe 250. Okay, that's getting closer. Let's go in way more. Let's try 500. That might be a little too much. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. So as you can see, as you play around with this, you know, it gets a little more squeezed, but when we expand and see the preview, you can see that this is looking pretty good. So even though the editing looks kind of crazy, once you hit preview or once you hit the once you hide the toolbar, you'll see the genuine width of that column, and it looks pretty good. So now let's go ahead and start styling this text and the form fields. So as usual, I'm going to go back to my pop-ins and go to Style, Typography. Let's go to pop-ins. looks good. Let's do, the weight looks pretty good. I'll just do a default here. Let's do uppercase. Let's make sure that it's white. And let's have it centered. And we'll just start to follow suit with the rest. So here, for the text here, I'm going to make that white. Make sure it's centered. Oops. And we really only need just about one line of text here. So I'm going to delete some of that. And then let's go ahead and change the size of the text. It looks pretty good to me, maybe a little bit bigger. Let's go back up to this text here, and we can maybe add a little bit of spacing between the letters. Let's go for 2. That looks pretty good to me. And let's adjust the size of this text. It's a little bit too small. All right. I think I want to add a little bit of spacing to the small text underneath. Let's add, that's a little bit too much. Let's just do 1, okay. And we're going to bring it up just a little bit. So I'm going to go to Advanced, Margin, make sure you unlink. I'm going to hit a value, let's do 10, and let's add a minus to that to bring it up just a tad bit. And I think I'm going to bring it up just a little bit more. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, so for this text here, I want to copy the attributes of this text. So I just right click and then I hit copy. And I'm going to apply the attributes of that text styling to this box here. And let's do the same thing on this other box. And paste that style in. Only thing I'm going to do differently here is I'm going to hit this text editor, go back to Advanced, and then hit 0 for margin, so we can just reset it to the, just to having no margin. All right. All right, that's coming along. Now let's go ahead and style up these forms right here. So if you notice here, the form is black and it has a white border going around it, mimicking the buttons that you've seen on different sections of this website. So we're going to do that same type of thing. Let's go ahead and change this text, and let's go to the field. Text color is going to be white, so it's going to disappear for a minute. Typography, we're going to stick with Poppins. And let's go ahead and change the background color just so we can see what we're doing here. So I'm going to change that background to black. And that for some reason did not seem to want to update. So let's see what else we can do here. Okay, there we go. All right, now we can go back to typography and really see what we're doing. So for weight, I think the weight is actually pretty okay. So I'm going to stick with whatever weight that is. Let's go to uppercase. And then let's actually decrease the size just a little bit. So let's go down maybe to, that's a little bit too small. Maybe 14. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to go back really quickly to content, and I'm going to add, for placeholder, let's add address. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to style. Actually, let me just add that extra S back in. All right. Then I'm going to go back to style and just work a little bit more on this typography. All right, so now let's go ahead and style this button. We're going to set the background color to black. We want the same text style, so I'm going to go to Poppins. I think it's 14. Let's do 400, uppercase. And we'll do a line spacing of 2. So what I want to do here for the field is I want to make sure that there is no border on this field. So let's remove this border width and see if we can make it into 0. Okay. Okay, that removes the border width around just the field. But if you look at the Fenty Beauty website, there's a border going around the entire section of that field. So let's see if we can get that done. So I'm going to hit this button here on the field, and let's go to advanced and border, and let's do a 1 border radius. Make sure you hit solid, and we're going to make the color white. Now that came out very dark, so let's try maybe a 0.5 and see if we can get that a little bit up. I'm sorry, that's actually wrong. Border radius should be 0. The width should be a 1. And that's still kind of thick to me, so actually I think I'm going to do a 0.5 on that. All right, let's just check and see what that looks like. Okay, that's looking interesting. Looks like there's a little bit of cutoff here, so let's make sure that everything is where it should be. Okay, so I was having some issues with the border around the fields looking correct and looking right. And what I figured is that the width was actually just too small. So I increased the width back to a 1, and that seemed to have solved that problem. Because I was messing around with different things, I set the margin for this little section right here back to 0, but I'm going to go back and set it back to what it was before, which I believe was a -10, just to place it a little bit closer to that top heading. Let's see what that looks like. That's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So what I did is, you notice I have 2 form sections here. All I did to create the section, the second form field, was to hit duplicate. So that will create an exact replica of the field that you had just styled. I only need 2 of them, so I'm just going to delete 1. And then for this second one, I'm going to go back in and change email to, I believe it's to phone number. And I believe that's on here somewhere. Now I can't find it, but that's okay. And we're just going to change it to, the label doesn't really matter since the label's not showing, but we're going to change this to phone number. And let me just double check and make sure that there actually is, there we go, telephone. So telephone there, and that will help to format that text specifically for a phone. Okay, that's looking pretty good to me. Now the only other thing is, that this has like a little icon next to it. So we're going to see if I can add that little icon in there as well. And for that, I'm going to need to go back to the form itself. There it is. So you have to go back to Content, Submit button, and then click on the plus sign under Icon, and that will bring up any the icons list. So if you wanted to add an icon to the Submit button, you can do that. And I'm going to add the arrow right. Let's insert that. And I want to place that icon after send. So I'm just going to do the same thing here with this form field, submit button, icon library, I'm going to type in arrow so I can find it quickly. There we go. Insert that one and change it to place after. And that looks pretty good to me. There we go. So this is really shaping up and really nice, looking pretty nice. Let's go ahead and fix up these social media buttons here. So these are all basically either filled in or outlined in white, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So I'm going to, first of all, just click on this little area. Of course, any of these buttons, they can be whatever you want them to be. Let's see. Let's pick something besides YouTube, since I already have that up there. And let me get a list of some different icons that we can use here. And I don't know what's going on. I am having so much trouble with my mouse lately. It's just not working right. I don't know what the problem is, but I probably just need to get a new one. So let's see, here we have YouTube, and I want to do a different one. So I guess I'm going to have to just click in here. There we go. And that brings up all the social media, different logos. And let's do LinkedIn. Why not? Let's put that in there. Let's insert that. Let's go down here to this one. Let's do Instagram, of course. You can find it. I'll just type it in. There we go. Let's see, we have another YouTube. Let's change, oh, let's keep that one YouTube. And then this last one here. Let's see. Why don't we do Pinterest? That's probably a good one. All right. So I want to style all of these buttons exactly the same. So I'm going to go to Style, and then under Color, let's do Custom Color. Primary color will be black. Secondary color will be white, and that looks pretty good. And there's other, there's other options as well for the social media icons. You can make them rounded, you can make them circle, you can make them square, but in this case, because of the way that I have the settings and because the outline is black, it doesn't matter really which one of these shapes that you use. So I'm just going to keep it the way it is here. I really like that. In fact, I'm pretty good with that. So let's go ahead and just make sure I save this. And of course here, you have some more text. This is wherever you want to do with it. So you can go and you can fill in any kind of text that you want here on the bottom that you like. I just want to do a little bit of fixing here. Let's move this margin down on the text just a little bit. Let's move it down 10, just a little bit. And then let's move the margin of these social icons. Let's move them up. So I'm going to hit a 20 on that one. Oops. Let me, I forgot to unlink it. So I'm going to unlink. Let me hit a 20. And then I'm going to set a negative sign in front of that to pull it up. And I guess we can keep going. Let's pull it up, pull it up, pull it up real close. Okay. That looks pretty good. Now this part here, just to mimic the amount of text that is in the Fenty Beauty, I'm going to go to my favorite, Cupcake Ipsum, and pull together some dummy text. So I'm going to hit long, just one paragraph. I'm going to hit generate and copy and paste that right into Elementor. Okay, it looks like I lost the styling, so I'm going to come here to this text box above it. Let's copy it, and then I'm going to paste the styling down here. And that should work, but it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so I found out why that wasn't working. I needed to go back to the actual text editor, and instead of under visual, go under text. And make sure that if you did the same thing I did and you copied and pasted from a web page, it probably copied and pasted a lot of coding. And that's why it was coming out really crazy looking, because it was copying and pasting the coding directly from the web page I got it from. So I basically just deleted everything and then went back in and pasted it back in, and it came out just fine. So that is looking pretty good to me. We are almost done. And the last little bit would be add a menu here on the bottom. Okay, well, we're almost to the finish line with this footer. So as you can see right here, I've added a little bit more to this graphic. I had like a little paint splash just to give the footer a little more pizzazz, a little more something else to look at. And then I also added this copyright information here on the bottom, and I just simply use the text edit widget, and then I added 50 pixels of margin at the top just to give it a little bit of space. Now the last portion that I want to add would be the menu. So if you see here on the Fenty Beauty website, there is a menu here at the bottom. Now I am not going to recreate a menu from scratch here. Now if you were going to do this kind of website for yourself or for a client, of course you would go ahead and create another menu as needed for that client. But what I'm going to do just for the look of the project is I'm going to go back to the widgets. I'm going to place the navigation menu here. You can see that does it show up? There we go. You can see that the formatting is not the formatting that we want, and I want to copy the formatting of the menu at the top. So what I'm going to do is scroll to the top. You will see here it says edit header. I'm going to click on edit header, save these changes so that they don't get messed up. And once that loads, I'm going to click here on any menu item, right click, and copy. Now I'm going to go back. Actually, go ahead and press update so we update it. Even though I didn't change anything, just go ahead and press update just to be safe. And I'm going to click here on this yellow indicator, says edit footer, which is where we were before. And it's going to switch back to being able to edit the footer. I'm going to go here where I inserted the navigation menu, right click and paste style. And now we have the menu styled exactly like it's styled at the top. And that's exactly what I wanted. Instead of having to go through all that process all over again, I just wanted to do a quick little something there just to have something on the bottom. Now, obviously, like I said, again, in a real case, you would have a separate menu here because it doesn't make sense to have the same menu at the top and the bottom when you have a sticky header. But this is just for the look of it. And I think this is what completes the footer at this point. So now we're going to go ahead and click publish and add this footer to the rest of the website. So I click publish, adding the condition is already set default to the entire site. That's exactly what I want. I'm going to save and close. All right, that's saved. Now I'm just going to open up this other window here and go to visit site. And here we have that beautiful header that we created previously, scrolling through, and we have this awesome footer that we just created today. So that will finish off this portion of the tutorial. And the next thing that we'll do, and the very last touch that we'll do, and I will see you in the next video. Hey guys, just one more thing. If you haven't already, you need to sign up to become a Diva VIP member. What is a VIP member? Well, with Diva VIP membership, you're going to get exclusive offers, discounts, and sneak peeks into my new products at Digital Diva Design. And if you sign up, you will get an instant 20% savings off of your next order from my shop. Yes, that's right. I have a shop with tons of templates and everything for your designing needs. And I'm adding new templates and new things daily. So whether it's business cards, whether it's logo and branding, if you need InDesign templates, I've got them. And if you need Illustrator designs, I've got those as well. So please come on over and sign up. It is so easy. All you have to do is just enter in your name and your email. And you are good to go. Sign on up for the Diva VIP membership. And go ahead and click on this coupon to get your 20% off savings from your next order at Digital Diva Design. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and sign up. I'll see you in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye.